to control it from here. I don't know if that's something. Yeah, because I know, oh my God, this thing's super fucking tall. I don't know why I did that to myself. Like fucking having to stand up and do this interview. No, there's I think they have because I'm still learning the camera, so they have like an app I downloaded. I don't know if they have like a start like thing where I can be like, bing, like press record and start.
Some places do have something like that. Yeah,
it's like especially technology nowadays. Like what the fuck? It's the convenience of every. Actually, when it comes to is there any crazy technologies like when it comes to like when you first got into like the restaurant industry? You're like, whoa, hold the fuck up! Like I've never seen that shit before.
There's probably are, but like we just probably get into like there's probably a whole lot of other stuff that we can get into as far as that. As far as me learning different stuff about like chefs, the chef world and all that, like that's, a whole different story. So, but yeah, am I supposed to not be able to hear myself?
No, you're supposed to hear yourself. Yeah. I was going to say, do you actually mind going a little close, like having you can actually do this too. So you can have yourself chill, extend it. Because like I can hear, because you can hear a little bit of a difference. So say if I go a little bit farther, how it's a little bit more echoey, and then you get a little closer.
Is it good right here?
Talk again.
Huh?
Give me a little sentence.
I can't hear it. I mean, like I hear you like outside of me, but I don't hear you directly in the mic.
Oh, really? Okay, it might be. Yeah. Is it like fuzzy? Is it like fizzling? It might be my fucked up headset. That's why.
Yeah,
I can grab another. Yeah, I'll grab another one. Give me one sec.
Okay.
Technical difficulties, everyone. Another day in the podcast.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, hey, you know how it is, especially for a business, right?
Dude, for real. Like,
it's like you get one thing, and then the next thing you're like, wait, hold up, I swear exactly. I had this thing like set up.
Oh yeah, man. So how do we start it, man? How we start it up, or is it already started? Podcast already started?
Yep, already started, man. Dude, I love the organicness of it all.
Dude,
and it's cool too because like I've had people on where I'm setting up, and they're like, oh, I'm glad I got to see you set up because it's more like
exactly.
Less stress on them, I guess. I don't know. That's what they were explaining to me. Like, they were like, I don't know, it just seemed less tense to see you set everything up. And it's like, I don't know, genuine.
That's a lot better. That's a lot
better. Okay, you can hear better?
Yeah. How about now?
Do you want, if you want to, I can lower your headset volume as well if you want. Or
just a tad.
Just a tad, all right. How about now?
Oh, that's better. That's better.
Better?
It's a lot clearer.
All right, perfect. How's it feel to be in a podcast?
Dude, it's first time.
Yeah. Oh, really?
First ever podcast. So,
hey, let's go. I feel gas. I be popping fucking podcast cherries out here in Virginia Beach.
Lord.
He's like, what the fuck did I get into?
Lord. All right, let's go, man.
No, but dude, I know you were talking. Oh, sorry, we were talking about. I want to go back to the Titanic though, because those memes are fucking funny as shit.
There was one that said, we're here in 2023, and people are still trying to learning different ways to die on the Titanic, and I was like, come on.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Like some of the things, like, because my wife would be usually the first one that'll show me like different, like podcasts and all. No, not podcasts. Different memes.
Yeah.
And all that, and making fun of whatever like the new thing is, whatever new things in the news, and I'm like, goodness gracious, there's a bunch of monsters out here. Like, what is wrong with people? Like, so all the Titanic ones, I ain't gonna lie, I felt terrible for laughing at them. I felt horrible. I was like, why are we here?
It's like, damn, I thought my humor was dark, and you're seeing all these new breed of fucking memers.
I was like, it's terrible, man.
So yeah, just seeing the gopher turn his head on YouTube was already like fucking funny as fuck. But now the memes have gotten evolved and better and faster. Yeah. Like pow, pow, pow.
Like, memes today are just it's crazy.
Because what was it like it's been a week or two now since that happened, the whole event. Because I think it was in Bermuda where I got the news where they were like,
so
they're done.
Yeah, it was. I started seeing this. It was like Wednesday or something like that. I was seeing stuff on social media about like this submarine or something. People are trying to find. As a matter of fact, I saw that and I had no idea what it was about. And then the next thing I saw was a meme. I was like, that was quick.
Yeah,
that was quick. And
I just finished reading the article.
I was like, I didn't even read the article. I read the headline. I was like, the headline. I was like, the first thing that I see was somebody saying, give Vin Diesel a Hellcat and he'll go find it.
Yo. I was like, come on. No, it's sad. No, it's even sad. I've never watched any Fast and Furious.
Don't worry about it. It's like one of those things. It's just like the first one. Okay, it was like, all right, I get it. Like it's pretty cool. The second one, yeah, I mean, the third one was great. The Tokyo one, and then the fourth one was just like
the third one or fourth.
Yeah, I think it was the third one, the Tokyo Drift one, and then the fourth one. I was like, okay, y'all need to stop. And what are we at? 11 now? I hadn't even. Like, I may have watched a couple more after that. Just other than that, no, I haven't seen any more.
Just more of like a laugh at that point.
It's just like there's no point. It's like there's no point. Like, why are we still doing it? Apparently, they said they're making like billions off of it, and that's why. So I'm just like, okay, all right, I get it. Like, if you're making billions off of something like that,
really?
Like, what was it?
Is that from continuous though, from like the beginning of when they started the whole series, or is it like just like every movie kind of like their?
It could be. It was Ludacris that actually said, Ludacris. I said he was like, people are asking why are they still making these, and they're like, because we're making billions. I was like, okay, fine, I get it. I get it. And then it was the funniest thing that I saw. It was like a couple of days after I heard it was like, who was it? Who was that female actor that's on there? I think it's like Michelle Rodriguez or something like that.
I honestly don't. I'm terrible with fucking actors.
She made a statement. She was just like, she was talking about all these Marvel movies that are coming out, and she said, "How many more Marvel movies can you make?" And then I'm like, "Are you serious?"
I know. Are you like? Wait, are you into comics or anything like that?
I'm not like. I watch the Marvel movies, and that's about it. I mean, I may have read like 1 or 2 comics in my life, and they were all both Batman ones. So it's just like, okay, so,
Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Batman was my guy growing up. I had more Batman action figures. There was this one Batman action figure that my mom got me that looked like he came out of like the Amazon jungle. He would look like with like some kind of tribal like looking outfit, and then the Batman mask. I'm like, what in the world am I looking at? Even at 6 years old, I was like, like, this is definitely not Batman.
It's like Batman Vietnam, like Viet Cong or some shit.
For real.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know you signed up for the war, motherfucker.
Oh my lord. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, going back to like the it's so I want to go back to the Titanic because I've been hearing like some people are like, how the fuck? Because it was like a billion. Because I know we talked about this earlier before this episode, guys. But it's like a couple of billionaires, and they all just
it was. I mean, yeah, I know probably little, maybe just as much, maybe less than like the normal person would about this. I have my brother who like keeps up with all this stuff, like
older brother,
younger brother.
Okay. Do you have a big family or?
It's just me, my dad. And then my younger brother, and then I got married back in 2019. So it's basically, and then my grandma lives with us and with my family, like my parents, and then it's just the 5, 6 of us. I mean, we have other extended family. Some live in Florida. We don't. I mean, we could see them. I wish we could see them more. And then we have family that lives in the Philippines. I just got to see them back in 2020.
Oh, let's go.
Early 2020, before the world shut down.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I'm like, oh, you found some ways to sneak through.
So we were actually in the Philippines. Like, we went in there. We initially were already planning to travel to the Philippines in 2020 in January, like last week. And then we found out earlier in the month that my grandma, who we were going to see, she found out she had passed. Lola is like the Filipino term for grandma. Lolo is a Filipino term for grandpa.
That sounds badass, honestly.
We love it. I mean, like, and we found out like literally 2 or 3 weeks before that she had passed away, and we were going to see her. So it was, obviously it was heartbreaking. We definitely wanted to go see her. So we found that on a Thursday. So we moved our entire trip up, like literally from like 2 weeks until we left like 3 days later.
Oh my God.
That was an entire experience, like, to begin with. Is even before we were leaving, the day before we were leaving, we already were planning on doing an event with Lumpia and Company in Norfolk with, I don't know if you know Jarrell, it's from Namarama.
That sounds familiar, but I'm not. He's
a local food influencer. He's a great, he's a cool dude. Like, he's been here many times before. I hadn't seen him in a while. But we were doing a slider competition, and there's several of the big restaurants in the area, like 17. I forget it. I forget the name. It's a burger restaurant in like over at the oceanfront.
You said 17?
I think
it's on 17.
Barrel 17.
I'm not.
Barrel 17, and then there's Redwood Smoke Shack.
Yep, I heard them.
Redwood, Bob's great dude. And there was another one. I think it's Gourmet Burger Bistro out in Portsmouth.
Oh, yep, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so it was like 4 different ones, and then we were entering our burger in Lumpia as a slider for the competition.
Oh, okay.
So we were literally having to do, and I didn't want to back out of the event. I didn't want to do that to him, and I was like, I called him. I was like, hey. You may see some stuff on our social media that we're going to be closing for a couple of weeks due to going to a funeral in the Philippines, but we are still going to be at the competition.
Okay.
So we literally did the entire competition at O'Connor's Brewery, shut everything down, got all of our equipment, brought it back here, and then me and my wife went home and packed, and then me, my wife, my brother, and my parents all left 7 a.m. that morning to fly to the Philippines.
Oh my God. Talk about fucking no sleep.
It was a crazy, like, couple of days. First of all, we found out on, Thursday that she had passed.
Yeah. I send my condolences to you and the family.
Absolutely appreciate it, man. And we found out that Thursday, and now Filipino, like, funerals that happen, like, in the Philippines, like, most of them at least, they take place a week after the person had died. And it's a whole situation. They keep the body in a casket. They embalmed it and everything. They keep the body in the casket in the house for people to come. It's like basically like a viewing for an entire week.
Oh, okay. Wait, in the house, like your own house, for example, like if you're, oh wow, exactly. Okay, that's different. Okay.
So basically they kept the body like in the living room, and we left, we basically, started traveling over, and we were supposed to be there on Thursday morning, which was exactly a week after she passed, Thursday morning, and the funeral was happening at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. We left Sunday at 7 a.m. here in America.
Yep.
We were thinking 4 days is plenty of time to get across the world and then get up there, get settled in, and then be there ready for the funeral. You would think that. Once we got on the airplane, we were in the airport at Detroit, connecting, and we were flying from Detroit to Japan. And we got on the flight. We were about to get on the flight, and then I saw this news article. It was like the Tao volcano has erupted in Manila. And I was like, should we be worried about this? I literally went to like the front desk, and asked the flight attendant, I was like, is our flight going to be delayed once we get there? And she's like, oh, I don't think so. Literally right when we landed after that 12-hour trip from Detroit to Tokyo, we landed, and right when we got under Wi-Fi, the first thing was our flight was canceled. And we were like, no. Snap. Like, we were just like, okay, well, it's a day. Like, by the time we got there, it was Monday. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. We should be okay. Like, we still have, like, literally another day. And then we got there, and we were just like, man, we're in Japan. Like, of course we're going to go exploring. So we literally, it took us 2 hours, but we got on a train and then went to Shibuya Square and got to eat ramen in an underground restaurant. It was awesome. Oh, my God. It was so great. Like, just being able to see Tokyo and everything. And then we figured that, like, once we got back that night, the next morning, we'll be able to, get some rest, and then they'll fly us back to the hotel, to the airport, and then we'll catch a flight out. Yeah. Well, first of all, they put us in this really nice. It was like the equivalent of like a Ritz-Carlton hotel. It was a beautiful hotel. Damn, okay. It was like, well,
shit, for canceling your flight after 12
hours. For canceling our flight, that was great. So we left there. They got us on a train and then a bus. They took us back to the airport. We literally waited there for 7 hours for a flight that ended up getting canceled at like 8 o'clock at night. I was like, what in the world? This is Tuesday night at this point. And this is Tuesday night. And
so you get that 1,500?
No, I did not. I don't know if that would have counted in a situation like this. It was just like, but anyways, like we were like literally just like, was like, man. And then they took us to another hotel, but except this hotel was the equivalent of a Motel 6 in the middle of.
You're like, wait, hold up.
I was like, what in the world? Like, you put us in the Ritz-Carlton, the Four Seasons, you take us to a Motel 6. And I'm like, what in the world?
You see the cockroaches like tucking in the pillow sheets.
Exactly.
How you doing?
Oh, it was a fun experience. It was an experience to say the least. We got from there, and then the next morning, we finally were able to fly out. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we got into Manila in the Philippines at 5 o'clock in the evening. Now, we were trying our best to get to our, the funeral, but like the problem, it's 5 o'clock in the night on Wednesday. The funeral was taking place at 8 a.m. in the morning on Thursday, and it's like a 12-hour commute. So my uncle...
12-hour commute, really?
It was a 12-hour drive to get from Manila all the way. And traffic, I don't know if you've ever been to Manila. Traffic there, driving there as a whole, just because you may be able to drive here in America does not mean you could drive in Manila. Yeah. It's a crazy. I thought I was going to lose my life at least 570 times. I was like...
Very specific. He's like Italian.
My dad literally said, like he said, the entire... Like he said, if you here in Manila, if you have an inch, you have the right of way. Like,
get the fuck out of here, really.
It's crazy. Like, it literally... It's... one of the craziest things. So we drove.
So is that where your parents from? Like both your parents?
My dad is from the Philippines.
Okay, gotcha.
My dad, and that's a whole crazy story in itself. But we got to Manila, and my uncle, who is awesome, he drives vans, like takes people places, and he literally took us, from there, and we got into Santiago, which is 12 hours north of Manila. Got there like at 4 o'clock in the morning. He took us straight to the house because we wanted to be able to see. I mean, everybody was waiting up for us. Everybody knew. We got to see her, got to see my family, got to see my grandma. It was obviously a very, sad and really hard moment. Mm-hmm. We stayed there for a little bit, and then we went back to the house and got changed. At this point, we hadn't slept in almost 30 hours. Like, we were just tired. Like, it was, this point, we were so tired. Well, what I did not know about the funerals that happened there was that you walk from the house to where the church is in the Manila. And that was like maybe like a 10 or 15 minute walk. And that's not that bad. Yeah. Well, we just sat in the church and like they did the funeral, like everybody paid their respects. Well, after that, we walked from the church to the cemetery. Now that was like about a 45-minute to an hour walk. All in the Philippines.
I was going to say. Holy shit, you're wearing a fucking tux, sweating your ass out wherever. I was going to say.
We were wearing I think I was wearing like a white shirt because it's customary. Like I was like to wear like a white shirt, a white dress shirt. No, I didn't have like my cousins that were wearing a white polo. Wish I would have known to bring a white polo. That would have been great.
Was it like all white? You're like all white. You know how we in America wear all black. And it's kind of.
I wore a white dress shirt, like a button-up dress shirt, and then like some slacks or something like that. But that was it. And it was.
Oh, that's a quick question now because it's interesting, like your perspective, because you've been, I don't know if you've been to funerals in America, like the culture, like
exactly.
How did it feel though? Like, does it like?
It was a very.
It's so depressing. I feel like obviously it's sad because you're losing, of course, a loved one, but I feel like we should be taking the time to appreciate the life that was and be.
Absolutely.
That's how I try to look at it. But again, cultures are different because there's other cultures who do that like appreciation of life and stuff.
It was. I don't know if it felt different for me, if it would for like a lot of people, but I can tell you how it felt for me. It was the first time, like little backtrack. That was the first time I had seen, the last time I was in the Philippines. And before that was 2000, 2001. Oh, wow. I was like 10 years old. So some of these family members, like some of my younger cousins, like I'm just meeting for the first time. Some of my older cousins, my first time seeing them ever since I was like, I'd say 10 years old or something like that. And they were like little kids. So it was hard for me to really like, I was extremely, like, it was about as mixed emotions as you can get. It's about as mixed emotions as you can get. Because, like, on one hand, I'm heartbroken because we were coming over here because we knew that was probably going to be the last time I got to see my Lola and all that. And then she ended up passing, like, literally 25 days before we were able to go. So, on one hand, I'm heartbroken, I'm very sad. But on the other hand, I'm, like, extremely happy and thankful because I'm getting to see family that I had not seen in a very long time. But as far as like the whole funeral experience, it was very moving. It was very, touching because it was like, it's just really hard to explain. It was a very beautiful and very moving time to get to be with family. I mean, I was tired. I was exhausted. It was hot outside, but like I would not have had it. It was a beautiful moment. To get to be with my family and all that. So it was an experience. Like, it was an experience. Obviously, it wouldn't. And also another thing that was, when we were planning on going up there, we were trying to be able to see everybody. Like, I have cousins that live in, different parts of the Philippines. And I was really wanting to see everybody, but we weren't sure if it was going to be able to happen. And one of the things that, like, a bunch of us said, there was, like, it's horrible that it happened this way. Yeah. But at least we got to see everybody, and we got to see everybody all at once. And spend time. And then there was some other experiences, like, we were so tired that after that happened, they asked us, like, hey, do you want to go somewhere after? And we were like, well, we're just going to go take a nap because we've been up for a long time. So it's funny, it was a running joke. My brother set a timer for 20 minutes. I set a timer for 2 hours. My wife didn't set a timer at all. Okay. We woke up 8 hours later.
All of you. 8 hours. Yeah.
I completely slept through. Yeah. My wife was the only one that knew, that she's the only one that knew that was going to happen. Yeah. And we were, we felt bad. I was just like, man, we just told them we were just going to take a nap. And we called them. We were like, hey, I'm so sorry. We were extremely tired. I'm like, that's fine. We'll hang out. At this point, it's 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. And they're like, we'll still want to hang out. And I'm like, y'all are awesome.
Exactly,
like,
right?
Y'all are awesome. Like, literally, it's 10 o'clock at night. Y'all want to get out. If it's 8 o'clock and I'm at my house, I don't want to go anywhere. So it's just, I'm like,
I think it's too, because it's like, especially when it's family too. It's like, man, I don't give a fuck. Let's hang out. I don't care what time it is. Like, I want to see you. I mean, like you said, you haven't seen most of the older cousins in a decade. Like, come on, who gives a fuck about time? How about come? And I actually want to ask a question too. Because you were saying 25 days before you were going, your Lola.
Yeah.
Lola. Okay, I didn't know what, but okay. Like, did that make you, on your journey there, or when you were there in the moment looking at all the family, like, did it make you just like have more of a deeper appreciation of the time and the guarantee of your life? Like, what was your mind like racing? Because because it's funny, say, like, my grandfather, he passed away like 2 weeks before I was supposed to go visit. So it's just crazy. We're just so ignorant of thinking we're guaranteed to see these people. So tell me your
that on top of like another story, I lost my grandpa like 2 years ago as well. Like my grandpa on my mom's side.
How old were they by any chance?
My Lola that passed away, I forget. Honestly, like, forgot how old she was. You see, the sad part about it is, like, the fact that we were separated by like nearly over thousands and thousands of miles. I wasn't able to talk to her all the time. I didn't really have the relationship that I wanted to. It wasn't literally the only reason is just because of distance.
Yeah.
And, like, I was, I wanted to go see her like so many different times, and there was always a reason why I couldn't. You couldn't afford it at the time. Other things that were happening at the time. And it was just a very difficult thing. And it was at that point, it was filled with I was having to battle a lot of guilt on top of that and all that. And just because, like, I didn't make a better effort to be able to go see her, to have that relationship with her, because my Lolo, like, her husband, he passed in 2007. I only got to see him one time in my life.
Really?
And that was when we went to the Philippines in 2000, like, when I was 10 years old. That was the only time I got to see him or ever spend time with him in my life. Luckily, I got to see her on that trip, and then she came over, I think, once to see us and all that. And that was, and that was that. My grandpa, who passed 2 years ago on my mom's side, he was like my best friend. Like, he was one of the greatest, heroes in my life. Like, probably top 3 people that I admired. And when he passed, that was like that was an extremely, because I got to literally sit by his side and hold his hand, like, when he passed. And it was just, it was very close. So both of those combined, obviously, just reminds you, like, try to do your best to appreciate the people and to let the people in your life know that you love them while you can and while you have them here. And do I do the best of that? No, I'm not. I try to, let people know how much I appreciate them. Try to let people know how much I love them. And, we just got to do it. Especially, my grandma, who's still here, she's my last living grandparent. And I try to do my best to be there with her. I do it. It's difficult. The life I live here at Lumpia and Company, it's, very busy. But I try to do my best, with the time we have, to let people know how much you love them, how much you appreciate them.
Exactly. And that's all you have to remind yourself of too. Because like you said, I can imagine there's times where you're sitting there like by yourself, you're beating yourself up. Why the fuck didn't I go? Why did I just say fuck it, go visit, my family? It's hard, but we have to realize, like you said, you have your life as well to live, but again, like, I think you having that realization and that understanding and appreciation at a young age, like, definitely, like, it's great to know, because people who don't have that appreciation until it's too late, and they're like, damn, like, how many more deeper connections I could have had with even cousins, siblings too. Because there's, I've heard stories of people not friends with their brother or sister because of some absurd like thing. It's like, come on, like, we have to move past that, especially with family. It shouldn't, of course you're going, there's no fucking perfect family. I got a fucking family full of fucking crazies. You know what I'm saying? But it's just to understand that they're there for you, and every
family, obviously has people in there, or they're, crazy and that do a lot of crazy stuff. But, like, to your point, no family's perfect. And, you just got to do the best that you can to, try to make that connection, try to make it, because, something happens, God forbid, we're not promised tomorrow. Yeah. We never are.
Actually, I want to ask, like, is it like, because, you have your last grandparent, like, has it got you reflecting on questions more, on like a deeper questions, like on to ask her about like her life and stuff like that? Like, try to like dig deeper into like her back. Yeah. Like,
so when my grandpa, obviously switching back to my grandpa. Yeah. Obviously I try to talk to her as much as I can about, like, how her upbringing, her mother, which is my mom, like, that was her, that was person close to her. For me, it was Papa, and then for her, it was her grandmother and all that. So like even when my papa was alive, I would do my best. And one time I sat with him and we talked for almost 2 hours, like just asking him questions about growing up, his experiences, like growing up, and like he was an electrician for I think 40, 50 years, and he loved telling stories about like when he was working as an electrician, he would work on pieces of equipment that were up to like 100,000 volts or something like that. I'm like, that just, I don't even want to touch my light in the, I get scared changing a light bulb.
Weak, right? But it is crazy though to see like what livelihoods your forefathers lived.
But on the other hand, like, it was cool. Like, cause he grew up in a time like, there wasn't a whole lot of men that he knew that cooked. And the fact that I'm working as a chef now, like been doing it for a while, he thought it was awesome. He loved it. Like he loved coming here. He loved, being, there were times where we would be up prepping now and he would ask for stuff to do. And there was this one time where actually he rolled like a lot of lumpia for us. And now he was a lot older. He was, struggling with dementia. And his hand was very shaky. So obviously it took him a little while, but it was a really fun time for him. Like he really enjoyed doing it. And he did it for as long as his like health would allow. The last 2 years of his life, he wasn't able to get around as much. But yeah, he enjoyed it. He loved it.
And to know it's, you're working for your family, your legacy, your family, your generational wealth. Like I can't even imagine the smile of like, damn, like how far he's come. You know what I'm saying? To see what he's done for his, the family, of course, He
did more for our family than we can ever repay. He did. It was just, even every member of our family, like just the things that you can tell a lot about who a person was, about what was said at their funeral. And, I had the opportunity to speak and, give honor to him and, just let everybody know how much I love him. And I literally said, I was like, I just wish that he could look down right now and see how he impacted all of us and how he impacted all of our lives just because, and it was, one of those things. It was hard to hold it together at that point because it was like, just because of how much he meant to me and how much he meant to our family and all that. So yeah, it's, it was one of those things to where like, the fact that he was proud of me and the fact that he said, because, over the years he had lost a lot of his memory and he remembered who all of us was. My wife, he knew her for a while, but sometimes he would forget who she was. And he was cleaning at helping my grandma with some stuff. And she's like, hi, who are you? And she was like, and my grandma was like, that's Zach's husband. And he was like, you married a good man. And I can't tell you, like, when my wife came home and told me that was, it's just one of those things where it's like a lot of people can have different opinions about me, and I do my best to treat everybody great. But ultimately, there are some opinions that matter more to others than others. Yeah, and just the fact that when he said that, and that was, that did something for me that I can't explain. So,
it's it's speechless.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like, what do you say to that? How do you respond to that? It's like,
No, he's he's definitely, looking down, he's definitely proud of you, man. Proud of the family and it's and like you said, probably the journey, he went through wasn't easy, but to see overall the bigger picture, he's a great that's awesome though. To see that you as well took that and made it who you are today, a better individual, person who's 100%. Doing it. And like actually let's talk a bit about like Lumpia and Company though. Like, were you? I know you said you liked chefing and all that stuff. So like, when you were growing up, did you chef with the family, always in the kitchen, like helping out? Like how'd that go?
So my mom, she loved cooking and she loved she was my first cooking instructor. She was the first person that teach me anything about cooking, and it was just little things like she didn't have a girl, like, growing up, obviously a lot of people, their perception is like, it's the women that cook and all that. But I knew a couple men, like in Filipino culture, a lot of times it's like the men that cooks. I remember going to one of my best friends growing up, his house, and his dad was the one that cooked all the meals. And that was just like, that's pretty awesome. Like, I don't know, I couldn't explain. I kind of gravitated toward that. So my mom started teaching me little things, growing up, and one of the first things she taught, you ever see those little Betty Crocker, like, little packets of blueberry muffin mix?
Oh, yeah.
So that was, like, the first thing that she ever taught me. Now, for me, I'm feeling like I'm cooking, like, a freaking like Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. I'm thinking this is so intricate, this is so cool, and all I'm doing is pouring mix into a bowl and pouring water into it and mixing it. Like I'm thinking, like, man, I'm a little like Bobby Flay or something like that. I'm like,
you start doing the special,
exactly,
even
like
though he wasn't.
So it was a great. I mean, that's where it started, and I started to learn different. I started making my own meals at home. I started just doing different stuff. And I even took, when I went to high school, I took a home ec class. Okay. And I just learned cooking different things when I was in that class. And that was like...
Quick question. What's home, like, I know it's about cooking. Was it like more of the science and the chemistry, like when it comes to like the mixes and stuff?
Exactly. They taught a little bit of like the scientific side of it.
Okay.
And all that. And I thought it was pretty cool. And like there was a couple guys that were... that would come in, they'd bring in different chefs to cook different things and all that. I mean, like, a couple local people, and it was really cool, like, getting to see that. I didn't, like, take it, like, as, like, a serious, like, one of those things where I thought, like, man, maybe I could be a chef. That didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if that happened there.
That didn't even cross, and, like, a lot of people that are in my position, they knew, like, when they were young, I'm like, I knew exactly that I wanted to start cooking, though I never thought about that. I never thought of cooking other than... like, and I didn't even have any other like food service jobs other than like going back. My first job, I worked at Chick-fil-A. And that was, I learned a little bit about like cooking in the kitchen, like breading lumpia. Not lumpia.
I was going to say, wait, they have lumpia and Chick-fil-A? Hold up, yo. We got a secret menu here, guys.
Yeah, lumpia secret, like Chick-fil-A secret menu. They go up and see what they say.
Yeah, that'd be, collaboration, Lumpia and Company and Chick-fil-A.
I know I would have made it at that point if I'm collaborating with Chick-fil-A. If I'm collaborating with Chick-fil-A, I made it.
The question is when, not.
Oh, yeah. But it was... that was my first job and working. And then I worked a couple other jobs. I mowed lawns. I worked at a couple of different department stores and all that. And then worked at the Christian Broadcasting Network in the area. Oh shit! And
it's like a radio host or like how?
It's Region University.
Yeah.
And then I got into my 20s, and from the time I was like 21, 22, until the time I was 26, I lost 3 different jobs. I was either let go. One of them was a sales position. I was let go just because it wasn't hitting my numbers. Another one, it was just working a job. I just did not know what I was doing. Didn't make sense to me. Then over my head. And then just a couple others that was, let go of. And at that point, I'm 26 years old and I got 3 different, jobs that I was let go from. So obviously that took a hit to, obviously my confidence, and I was just like, at that point, I was trying to figure out, like, what I wanted. I took the time. I prayed about it. I saw God, and I was just trying to figure out, like, and I even applied for jobs, and I had no problem getting hired. Yeah. I had no problem getting jobs. I had job offers literally a week after I was let go from that position. But none of them felt right. None of them felt right. And I was just like, I don't want to keep on working these different jobs, these different positions, getting let go, and then like not being able to find what I wanted to do, something that I genuinely enjoyed. And the door opened for my parents, like kind of backtracking a little. One of the things that my mom always cooked. My mom is American. She's from Florida, and my dad is from the Philippines.
So you're first generation American, technically?
On one side.
Yeah, yes. On one side, yep.
On one side, yeah. My family, but my mom learned how to make Filipino food, partly from my Lola, whenever she came, and then partly just from like different Filipinos that we knew that taught my mom how to make lumpia, taught my mom how to make pansit, like these different Filipino dishes. And she got to a point to where like just her upbringing, she was a really good cook. She ended up making a lot of the stuff like lumpia and pansit better than some of the Filipino ladies that we went to church with. And they even told her, they're like,
they were talking shit. Yo, this fucking bitch made some good ass lumpia.
I don't know if they were saying all that. I don't know if they were saying all that at the church. But,
oh, yeah, I know, right? Imagine. I'm like, yo, hold up, what?
Exactly. But no, but they were like, what? And then
that's awesome.
It was like one of those things. It was like kind of funny. They were like, what? Like Judy, she's making better lumpia than all of us. And then it got to a point to where like every time like she would make a huge batch of these lumpia, and every single time my brother and I wanted to go on a trip to like say it's like a youth trip, like a youth retreat.
Through the church.
Exactly.
Oh,
like
okay,
different church events. We went to like, different mission trip, different like national trips and all that. But every single time, Mom said, we'll help send you, but you have to help too. She basically sent us out with a notepad and a pen and go door to door and go to people in the church and sell lumpia.
Oh,
and sell
shit.
lumpia to them. Yeah, it was like a fundraiser.
And that's how you would,
That's how we would raise money to do it. Like my brother went to a mission trip in Spain back in early 2016 and he helped sell lumpia to do it. Wow. Like, so it was one of those things, and I worked a sales job and I wasn't very good at it. I had no problem whatsoever selling lumpia. Some people would see me walking up with a pen and a notepad and they'd be like, I'll take 2 dozen. And I'm like, okay.
He didn't even say hi yet. You're
like, just like not even hi. Like, so I would walk up and they would just, be like, hey, like I'll take 2 dozen. I'll take 4 dozen and all that. So it was an easy thing to sell. And all throughout the entire time, that was the time I was like 12 years old all the way to now, people always told my mom, like, you should open a restaurant. You should open a restaurant. You should open and during that time when I was like a teenager, a young adult and all that, I dabbled in cooking. I learned different stuff and all that. And it was, it was fun. I had no culinary training whatsoever, other than like a home ec class when I was in high school, and then other than my mom teach. Am I close enough to the microphone? Am I good?
No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. You sound good.
And other than that, taking a home ec class and my mom teaching me how to cook, teaching me how to roll. Other than that, I had no culinary training whatsoever. Like, and so during that time, like kind of fast forward to where I was at this point, back in like, I think it was September 2016, we were just sitting down and we were talking about like, hey, you're looking for a job. You don't seem to be happy with like the positions you're being offered. You don't seem to be happy with like the different opportunities you've had in the past. Why not we try to do this? Why not let us try to start this now? And I was like, I thought about it and I was like, it just felt like a right opportunity. It felt like an opportunity I was praying for. It felt like something it was something that I can actually do and I had taken an interest in business. I had taken an interest in, like I took a business class in college and all that. So I already had a little bit of an interest in starting a business. I just had no idea what that would be. Yeah. And so we were like, okay, let's do it.
And this was your mom, Judy, going up to you, like in the family?
This was me and my mom and my dad, my brother sitting down. Okay. At this point, I was still living at home. I wasn't married yet. Me and my wife had been dating for like a couple years now.
He's like, damn, we were just dating then.
Exactly. Like, holy shit. Yeah, it was it was a while back. But we were, and we were just like, let's do it. Let's try for it. So we came and we found, as a matter of fact, she actually didn't even bring up the opening the restaurant until she came to look at this location. Really? Like literally the room we're sitting in right now, like she was like, let's go take a look. I'm like, for what? She's like, what if we opened a restaurant? I'm like, what?
It's like, hold up. You're like,
so we had already been talking about it a little bit during that time, but we came and looked and we looked at the location. We looked at the kitchen. Obviously it needed a lot of work, a lot of cleanup.
I will say though, the interiors, I love that. Like when I first walked in here, dude, like I was like, wow, this is a nice like hidden gem. You know what I'm saying?
It took a lot of work to get there. Trust me at that point.
I got to see the before photos.
I'll have to try to see if I can find something but we got the keys in November, like mid-November 2016. Yep. And that's when we got to look in. At that point, before that, we were already like talking to like branding people like that built our logo, built our website. And we were just building up a plan, trying to figure out. But at that point, like there was a couple things that I wanted to do because I think it was understood and we talked about it that me and my mom would try to create the menu. But I just got to thinking, I was like, there's a lot of great Filipino restaurants that are in the 757 already. Mm-hmm. And typically with a lot of these different restaurants, it's kind of the same thing. You have food that's like sitting on warmers and, that's just one of the things, cafeteria style. You come in, you tell them what they want. It's kind of like Panda Express. Yep. And you tell them what they want, they put it on your plate, and then they send it with you. I knew for a fact there was a couple things that I wanted when I started. I knew that I wanted our menu to reflect my upbringing because I'm not full-blooded Filipino. I didn't grow up in the Philippines. I'm a Filipino American. Yeah. My dad was from Santiago City, which is a northern city in the Philippines. My mom was born in Pensacola, Florida, which was like it was a city in Florida, like a southern city. Mm-hmm. So, and I grew up, and on top of all of that, my dad was in the Navy, and I grew up in San Diego, California. And so I'd been around like the country. I'd tried different stuff. So
were you born in San Diego?
I was born in Florida.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I didn't
mean to cut you off. Yeah.
No, you're good. But I was raised in California. That was my earliest memories were in San Diego, California, and all that. So I got to, I just got to thinking. I was like, for one, I wanted our food to be made. Kind of backtracking. One, I wanted our food to be made fresh to order. I wanted to fry the lumpia to order, wanted to make every noodle dish to order. I didn't want anything sitting on warmers. Nothing against people that do it like that. Obviously, it's a model that's been working. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I wanted to do something where I served the food fresh. Mm-hmm. I cooked it to order. And on top of that, I wanted the menu to be different than typical Filipino restaurants. It would just, I wanted it to be my style.
Exactly.
I wanted to make different things. I wanted to create different things that, a lot of people wouldn't have thought of. My very first, one of the staples on our menu, the buffalo chicken lumpia.
Oh, God, that was so good.
Yeah.
When I tried that shit for the first time, dude, oh, my God.
It's a favorite.
And I do like that because it was actually a question I was going to ask you, but you basically answered it yourself, is how you guys, maneuvered through, because like you said, there's a lot of, lumpia,
Exactly.
So, because it's so funny, because one day I literally looked up lumpia and then y'all's just popped, the logo just popped up and like caught my eye. I'm like, all right. And then I saw your menu and I seen the buffalo. I was like, all right, this is different.
So yeah, that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
We came to the conclusion that we wanted a menu that was specifically designed, around lumpia. Yeah. With that, lumpia is the main star. Lumpia is the bread and butter of this business. Yeah. So, the buffalo chicken, when I created that, I was at home and I was like, okay, other than like, following, recipes off of me, I had no like ingenuity, like I had no like natural like cooking skills. So what did I do? I literally took a rotisserie chicken that was left over. I cut it up. I poured like buffalo sauce we had in the fridge into it. And then we had sliced provolone cheese in our thing. And I was like, they saw me do it. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just want to see if something works. And then I literally did all of that, rolled it up in a lumpia. Now the process is a whole lot more intricate.
Yeah.
Because I make the sauce from scratch. I do, we cook the chicken in the oven, process and all that, and then put cheese in it. So it's obviously a lot different, but I just wanted to see if it would work. And it did. And I was just like, I got something here. It was kind of like one of those like light bulb moments. I was like, ding, I got something. So we created different stuff. Like we created different types of lumpia, like the Monte Cristo. That was an accident.
Oh, really?
That was I didn't even want to go for that initially. I just wanted to see if it would work as like maybe a kid's menu item.
Yep.
But then I tried it and it tasted just like a Monte Cristo sandwich that had at Bennigan's back in the day. So I was like, oh my word, this works. Damn. So, and then different stuff over the years, like it just, we just learned that it was something that worked and something that we wanted to continue doing. And obviously it has been successful in the area.
Yeah, I was going to say that's all. And it must be fascinating though, too, because you're bringing back like this creative, like intricate, like this creative, like interest too. Because you're like, oh, what if I do this with this? You know what I mean? Like, how does that feel? You know what I mean? When you were starting to make the menu, obviously the buffalo chicken, at first, but like, you know what I mean? As you kept getting your routine going, like, how is it different from your routine of making a new ingredient then is now?
It's so much different now because I have a lot. I did everything backwards. Now, first of all, we broke a lot of rules. As far as like
rules gotta be broken.
First of all, we put buffalo chicken in a lumpia wrapper, and that's something that a lot of people are like, why would you do that? It's like, because a lot of different cultures protective over their cuisine, and I respect that. But it's just like, and some Filipinos, some of the Filipinos, and I've talked to people that like say, because obviously I'm half Filipino, know a lot of different people. They either love it or hate it. Really? Like a lot of, and they say
you didn't hate it because of the cultural thing, or just
it's
because
the culture.
Okay,
it's the cultural.
They're like smiling. It's so good. And they're like, no, fuck this.
And I respect. I get it.
Yeah,
I'm half Filipino. I get it too. In some ways, I feel bad for slightly desecrating our cultural staples in our food. But
is that really? I don't know. It's just I think it's like I'm on the same, but it's like if anything, you're bringing more focus to your culture as well because you're like what I mean. You're getting different eyes to get it. That's how I look. But I fully understand what you're saying though. The perspective, of just what I mean, fully. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, on one hand, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand the feeling behind it, and all that. And on one hand, like I kind of sympathize with that. And then on the other hand, I knew I wanted to build a restaurant that reflected, I wanted the menu to reflect my taste. I wanted it to reflect what I wanted to do. Like, it was just, I wanted to break those rules. I mean, first of all, there's other rules that we broke. Number one, we opened the restaurant 2 months after we got the keys to the restaurant. Some restaurants, it takes like a year.
Oh, really?
Or so to, like get everything ready, to recipe test, to get everything straight. Okay. We had to learn a lot of different, other than the fact that me and my brother and my mom all worked at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Like before that was the only food service industry experience that we had.
Oh, wow.
We had no idea how to run a restaurant. We had no idea how to plan out things. We had no idea. That first 2 years, we probably pulled 80 to 90 hours per week. Like, and that was, majority of it was just rolling Lumpia. Damn. Majority of it was like we would literally close up the shop, set up to roll. We'd wake up at 9, like we'd get here like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, set up everything, get everything ready, go the entire day. And then we would roll Lumpia at night from like closing, whatever it was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night till almost 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Go home and do it all over again.
Get back at 8 in the morning. Boom.
Dude, that was one of the physically most demanding, and it was hard on all of us. Like, it was like a really, it was a really rough. I mean, there was one time where we got our first real break, like our first real publicity. And we had like people like, Jarrell, people like, just different Instagram influencers, like social media influencers that came and viewed our restaurant. We got several kick from that. We got several uptick in business for that. One of the biggest breaks that we got was August 2018. We got, there was a lady that came in and she was really nice and we got to talking and all that. And then I went through the back and just started doing some stuff. And my mom came out and talked to her. And then my mom was like, "Hey, come back out here." And I was like, Hi again. And she said, "Hi, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Judy Cowling."
And why does that sound mad familiar?
She is a food vlogger for The Pilot.
That's what I was like. Why the fuck is that? Damn, yeah, food writer.
And I knew who she was.
Yeah.
And I thought I was gonna pass out. I was like, because I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, man, like I couldn't believe it. And we got to talking. She's like, "Yeah, I'd love to do a write up on y'all." And then we're like, "Wow, it's amazing. We're really excited about it." But we didn't have any idea how big that was going to be.
Yeah.
We had no idea. And the article came out on a Wednesday morning.
Yep.
Like, it came out on a Wednesday morning. We read the article. It was amazing. We opened the door at 11 o'clock that morning. At about 11:15, we had a line out the door.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it was a huge. I was like, first of all, my first initial thought was I had no idea that many people read the paper.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, right. Who the fuck reads newspapers anymore?
I mean, the article was online and a lot of people posted it on social media.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy, and I was like, we were literally busy from the time we were open to the time we closed. And that Wednesday through Saturday, because at that time we were open Tuesday through Saturday. Now it's Wednesday through Saturday. Yeah. At that time, from that Wednesday until we closed on Saturday, we got a total of maybe 8 hours of sleep over that 4-day period. We were so busy trying to keep everything. We were literally restocked. That first night, we were stocked everything from like 6 o'clock that night, because we closed at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. From that 6 o'clock that night till about like 8 or 9 o'clock that morning, we were prepping almost the entire time.
Damn.
It was just the four of us and maybe one or two other employees. Yeah. And that was a crazy time. That was our first real break.
Yeah. I was going to say, how'd that feel, though?
It was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing. It was just like one of those things where I was like, especially coming from like, me personally, like 2 years before that, I was being let go from like the third job in almost 2 years on a during a 2-year period. So it was crazy to see, and it was a huge blessing. It was just like, it was one of those things where I was just thankful to God. I was thankful, you know, just for the support that, you know, we had gotten, now, not just from, you know, like our family and not just from our friends, but just from the community. It was just like, it felt like I was like a part of something at that point. It was an unbelievable feeling, and I was blown away by it. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. And that was our biggest weekend, and that was our biggest break until this past April when we were put out there on Channel 13 News, and that was.
Oh, how was that? Was like the interview? Was like an interview thing, or was it for that because you just got a reward, right?
That was the Coastal Virginia.
Yep, that's
Coastal
what it
Virginia
was.
Award. Yeah, we've gotten gold. We just got gold this year, and this is our second year in a row. Appreciate it. And it was very, very thankful to everybody who voted. And it was a whole crazy other part because we had our business has grown year after year ever since then, and then it was February of this year, we got a call from somebody. It was Bethany Reese from Channel 13. She's one of the daytime news anchors.
Oh, okay.
And she called and she said she wanted to do a write-up on our business. And my mom told me that. I immediately thought it was a prank.
Really? You were
I was like, no, is this for real?
Yeah.
No, she was like, no, it's for real. She said she was calling from 13.
Yeah. So and then you like looking around, see if there's any like Impractical Jokers cameras or
I was looking for action pictures somewhere. But I couldn't believe it. And so she came into the interview end of March, I believe it was. It was like, and she did the interview end of March. We cooked for it and everything, and released on April the 14th of this year. Yeah. The news article came out that morning. And we thought we were busy during the article. Obviously, the TV spot was crazy.
Yeah.
It was one of the busiest we have ever been.
So you had like 2 hours of sleep that week together.
Yeah. Luckily, we were prepared. Luckily, we knew that it was coming, and luckily we've honed down on a lot of our processes and all that. So luckily, we knew that was coming, so I slept maybe 4 or 5 hours a night.
Maybe.
all that hard work just to give me 3 more hours of sleep.
Yeah, right. It's
trust me,
something.
At 32, trust me, I'll take every bit of it I can get.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Exactly. But we were, luckily we were a little bit more prepared for that, but it was the craziest weekend we ever had. Yeah, so we're just thankful.
What about you? Like, I know obviously it would be, your dad wasn't able to come. Like, how is like, obviously you guys sit together and you're like, yo, how's he feel about it? Obviously it must be amazing, but it's just like, your parents' perspective on it all.
So my parents, obviously there's no Lumpia and Company without them.
Yeah.
There's no Lumpia and Company without, first of all, I'd say I'm a mix of both my parents. My dad was a huge business nut growing up. Like he absolutely loved like business. He read about different stuff. Like it was his dream to open up a business one day. He served 20 years in the Navy. And then after that, he had been working for one of the government contractors for the past like decade or something like that. But he had always wanted to open up his own business. He never thought it was going to be lumpia, Filipino food, but he did that. And so I had his love and his interest in business on top of that, my mom's love for cooking. Mm-hmm. And so they were just blown away by it. And my dad still works full time for his contracted job, and then he comes here at most nights and on weekends, to help. And with the restaurant, he does a lot of rolling. He'll never cook any of the food. He's just not his style, not his thing. He doesn't even really take a lot of the orders. He'll just do a lot of the background work, and he'll like roll lumpia. Yep. He'll wash dishes, and he's just an extremely hard worker. So.
No, he's a good man. For the little conversation I've had with him, he's definitely,
Yeah, he's the greatest.
No, seriously, he's good people. I'd love to have him on again. Shit, you have you both on. That'll be again, shit, part 2, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, that would be a blast. But yeah, we've had, it's just been a journey to say the least.
No, it's like you said though, it's awesome to hear though, because especially like in a predicament in 2016 where you're thinking like you're getting beat down, like damn, like. What am I going to do? And to see this, it's awesome, man. It's good to know even better that it's a family that's, making things happen, making their American dreams come true. And, I'm seriously, I'm happy for you guys,
Absolutely,
and
appreciate
I wish you seriously only the best.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man.
No, I was going to ask you too, man. We are actually about to wrap it up. We're about to hit that hour mark. Yeah. But first off, I want to say thank you, Zach, for coming on and tell a little bit, even though it's just a scratch of the surface, but just a little bit of your story and shit.
Absolutely.
Man.
Appreciate the time, man.
No, of course. And before we sign off, I want to give the floor to you. Shout yourself out. Shout anyone else you feel you want to shout out, and if you want to leave words of inspiration, some comedy, and how people can support you and your business. All you.
Well, yeah, first of all, if you're listening here, to us, and if you've ever heard of us, you ever, given us any of your business, come in to, try us out. First of all, we want to say how much we appreciate you and appreciate, the people that have been, loyal to us, that have helped us over the years, that have, come in. We've literally had customers, even this past weekend, that just they were literally some of our very first customers that came in, and that was really hadn't seen them in a while. So it was just really great to see. And it's, I just want to say, obviously, to, everybody that's helped, my parents, my brother, my wife, everybody that has, contributed to Lumpia and Company. This wouldn't be here without you. And, our entire goal, obviously, with this business, and in life in general, we just want to do what the word says. We want to be a light. Jesus says, you are the light of the world. So in some small way, we want to, show God's love and show God's, show that God is love, even if it's just, through us serving you, Lumpia. We have signs all over this building. We play Christian music every time that we're here. We want to be able to just, show, God's love and just do what he tells us, to love people the way he loves them. So it's just an honor to be able to be a part of this community and just to be able to serve this community in that way.
No, and you guys are doing just that, because I want to actually because food. What better way to understand each other is to break bread, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. This, they tell us that Bible even says they went together from house to house breaking bread. So that's just what to do.
Zach, it was awesome, man. Nah, dude, I appreciate your time. You're the one fucking running the goddamn business over here. I'm just a guy who likes talking to people.
Sounds good.
Nah, man, you guys are definitely, you're bringing light to the community, and think about how many people you've motivated to start their own business, maybe in food or wherever any endeavors. You know what I mean,
Absolutely.
man? Dude, thank you, Zach. I appreciate your time.
Dude,
and
thank you for the time, man.
Hell yeah, dude. And guys, thank you for listening to the podcast. As always, I hope you guys are doing the best you can for yourselves and the people around you, because you know why? You fucking deserve it. And with that, see you on the next episode. Peace.